Tully is a comedic drama that stars Charlize Theron, Mackenzie Davis, and Ron Livingston, and it follows Marlo, who is a struggling mother of two who has a third child just after the film starts, and already being overwhelmed by raising two children, having a husband who's a bit detached from life as well as in their marriage, as well as the arrival of their third child. Marlo decides to take the advice of her rich brother and hires a night nanny, who is a young woman who comes and takes care of the new baby while Marlo gets a chance to rest. And so the woman who ends up being their night nanny is a young woman named Tully, and while working for the family, Marlo and Tully actually become close friends. Let's get into the pros and con list. First, for the pros, the performances are outstanding in this movie. I mean, Charlize Theron, of course, gives another great performance. I don't think it's her best, like some critics say, like it's better than, say, the movie that she won an Academy Award for, Monster, which was directed by the Wonder Woman director, Patty Jenkins. I don't think it's on that level, but it's still awesome nonetheless. No, I actually thought that somebody who was a standout in this movie was Mackenzie Davis as Tully. Now, I had seen Davis before just one time in another film. I remember she played a prostitute in Blade Runner 2049, and I don't think that I've seen anything else that she's been in, but who knows, I could actually be wrong. I usually am. Tully comes into this film seeming like this nanny dream girl who's lovely and quirky, and at first I really didn't know what to think of her because of the level of quirkiness that she exuded. But as the film goes on, more of her character is fleshed out, and she really becomes interesting. And then we have Ron Livingston, who plays Marlo's husband, Drew, and he does a really good job in this film, which made me happy because earlier in the year I did a review of the Conjuring movie, and he played the father of the family that was being haunted. And while I thought he gave a good performance, I felt like he was being held back due to his character being kind of a cookie-cutter father figure. And it really didn't give him a chance to show off his acting chops, especially because I mostly know him as a comedic actor, especially for any fans of Office Space. You know that he's the main guy in that. So the fact that he got a more fleshed out character in Tully actually made me happy, and I thought that he did the role very well. One constant thing that I always saw in the director's films, which, by the way, this is Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, you know, the director of the Ghostbusters movies. And I've only reviewed one movie of his, which was Thank You for Smoking, which I absolutely love. But he's done a few other films like Juno, Young Adult, Up in the Air. And one consistent that you can see with those three films is that he really enjoys exploration into the psyche of people who expected to be in one place, and yet they're in a completely different place altogether in their lives, in a figurative sense. And you definitely get a lot of that with the character of Marlo. She constantly thinks she thinks to herself about what could have happened if she hadn't gotten married early and had kids. Would she have continued to be the free spirit that she was? And back to Marlo and Tully, their relationship and chemistry is absolutely wonderful. It had some of my favorite moments in the film that were just tied to those two characters. Marlo feels like she's lost her sense of self due to the fact that she's had 3 children to look after, and Tully serves as this sort of refreshing and therapeutic presence for Marlo, causing her to introspectively reflect on her life's goals, either in the past or her current life goals, and those setbacks that she went through to get to where she is now. And those gentle and very observational conversations between these two women, like I said, are the best are the best scenes in the film. This film also tackled something that's rarely shown in this type of medium, and that's the reality of motherhood. We see the ugly reality, and not this glamorous Hollywood look of motherhood where everything's just perfect all day, every day. No, we see what marriage and children does to a woman's body and her mental state, having to lose sleep over taking care of a baby, breastfeeding multiple times a day in, day out, routine. And Tully, as a film, shows that motherhood is not totally glamorous, as I said, and I really felt uncomfortable watching it, which is honestly good. I like when a movie does that, because then it just feels real to me, because whenever a movie's uncomfortable to watch, that means that I at least got an idea of how motherhood is, and it really made me appreciate my mother even more than I already did, because let's be honest, I was a fucking handful when I was young, and I know that I myself at least made it hard for my mom at times. Hell, I still do to this day. So after we saw this movie, this was a couple months back, after we saw this movie, I thought, yeah, I wish that I had a little bit more substance to that, yeah, but I'm not good at improv. I also can't not mention the type of humor in this film, which, I'll be honest, it's not a big pro for me, because I liked everything else more, but I did like that sort of dry humor aspect that the film had. And finally, I do have one con for this movie, and it involves the way that, the film tackles the idea of mental illness. I won't go into spoilers, but when it happened, I thought, okay, it was a cool idea, but honestly, there's a narrative choice in the film involving that theme that really bugged the shit out of me, because I didn't feel like Tully as a film really needed it. It was good on its own, and when you throw a curveball like that, it'll either work and blow your socks off, and you'll be pleasantly surprised, or it just won't work for you, and that really depends on your own point of view. Like, for myself, it didn't work for me at all. It took away from what the rest of the film had established, but luckily it's not so bad that it ruins the rest of the film. So that's my thoughts on Tully. Despite a narrative tool that falls flat, in my own eyes, it was a really good movie that touches on the reality of motherhood, the physical and mental stresses that come with that, and the idea of losing who you are as a person when your primary job is to take care of a family that you yourself created. And I definitely recommend this movie to anyone who enjoys a realistic portrayal of life from a certain perspective, as well as any mothers who may find this to be true to their own experiences, perhaps. And that's where I will end this review. If you enjoyed the video, please do not hesitate to hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, click on that subscribe button so that you can keep up to date with everything that's going on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and farewell until the next video.